San Diegan spending a year in Puerto Rico shares her experience as Hurricane Fiona came through.
Plus, a body is identified as that of a man from Escondido who'd been missing. And we're also learning about an arrest in the case.
Mysterious lights spotted just off our coast. What are they and where did they come from? Families struggling to stay in Barrio Logan. Why gentrification is the biggest reason behind it.
And your chance to win Hispanic Heritage concert tickets with Los Tecanes de Tijuana.
CBS 8 News live at 6 starts now.
As Hurricane Fiona hit Puerto Rico, a San Diegan on the island braced for the worst. And tonight, she's sharing her experience with us. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. She says storms in San Diego usually last about an hour or two, but this one continued for 6 hours with strong wind and heavy rain. CBS 8's Steve Price joins us now with her story and some frightening video. Steve?
With 115-mile-per-hour winds and heavy rain, Hurricane Fiona pounded Puerto Rico on Sunday, leaving millions of people there without power or water, including a San Diegan who just moved there back in November and says this storm was unlike anything she ever experienced here. Danielle Guidone took this video as the storm slammed into the city of Isabela Sunday afternoon.
It was so loud where the howling just didn't stop the wind, and you can hear it circling through the house. You can hear the rain pounding against the windows, and the rattling wouldn't stop.
We interviewed Danielle over the phone because she has no internet service, but right now that's the least of her problems.
We haven't had power since Sunday around 2. We don't have water, and we're told it's going to be a couple days for both.
The Category 3 storm hit other parts of the island even worse, with heavy flooding, washing out roads, knocking down power lines, and damaging structures.
What we got here is a lot of heavy rain and thunderstorms, lightning.
Kevin Cole has lived in Puerto Rico for almost 9 years, so he was there when Hurricane Maria, with its 175-mile-an-hour winds, devastated the area back in 2017. Resulting in nearly 3,000 deaths on the island. He says lessons learned back then paid off with people more prepared.
We were okay with this one, and we'll be ready for the next one, I suppose.
Is this just called life living in paradise?
Exactly. You know, where there's an old saying, there's where there's sun, there's shadows. So that's what we got.
Danielle, who also took this video, definitely hopes there won't be a next one. She's only on the island for a year while working remotely for a company in Carlsbad. But while going through the hurricane was an experience she'd like to forget,
it's so scary.
Her overall adventure has been a fantastic experience.
It's been amazing. This is truly paradise. The people are so sweet, laid back. You just get right into the rhythm of life here.
Steve Price, CBS 8.
Balboa Park's House of Puerto Rico is raising money tonight to send to help the island. If you'd like to donate, we've put a link on the help button at cbs8.com.
New tonight, your monthly water bill will be going up. The San Diego City Council just approved a 3% rate hike. That vote came down less than an hour ago. The San Diego Water Authority, the city's main supplier, blames increased rates on inflation and higher energy costs. They've already increased rates for treated water by 5% and 4% for untreated water. Those rates will take effect in January. The medical examiner's office has positively identified a body as that of a man from Escondido who'd been missing.
The remains of Stanley Stevens were found earlier this month near Lake Henshaw. CBS 8's David Goffton talked to one of Stevens' neighbors who says officers arrested one of the dead man's former roommates.
Wonderful guy. He's a neighbor of mine for 2.5 years. Became a really good friend.
71-year-old Stan Stevens lived in this house on North Broadway in Escondido. He was a retired librarian, loved taking long hikes, and went to church every Sunday, according to his neighbor, Stefan Rudolph.
It's sad because his life was about his church, and he was involved so much in the community that when it came down to it, he's sorely missed by many people.
Stevens went missing in mid-August, and Escondido investigators soon zeroed in on a former roommate. 32-year-old Ed Zamora had moved out of the house 4 months earlier. The neighbor says Zamora was a recovering addict who relapsed and started living out of his Honda Civic.
I've been sober 10 years myself, and I help people now in my program, and I know that the person that did it lost his mind, literally.
The neighbor told me nobody witnessed the murder. Stan just went missing one day. Deputies found the victim's wallet, cell phone, keys, and his Toyota Corolla still at the house. The two roommates did argue, according to the neighbor.
During the time that he lived here, I know there was some bad roommate stuff going on about dishes, about cleaning, you know, the basic stuff you have with roommates.
It remains a mystery why Zamora apparently returned to the house and why he may have targeted Stevens. The victim's cause of death has not been released.
It was premeditated. Everything was just insanely against Stan, the most innocent person in the world, I could tell you.
On the morning of September 6th, officers found a body off Highway 76 and East Grade Road near Lake Henshaw. That same day, they arrested Zamora. It took the medical examiner 2 weeks to positively identify the body as that of the missing man.
Stan wouldn't even harm a fly. There's no way he would hurt anybody. He was the nicest guy when it came to, you know, dealing with nature, walking around, getting out there, interacting with people.
Zamora has pleaded not guilty to 1 count of first-degree murder. He's due back in court in December. In Escondido, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Thank you, David. San Diego police need your help tonight finding a woman they say killed a man in Talmadge. Police say this woman, Sheila Camarena, should be considered armed and dangerous. She's accused of killing 33-year-old Michael Favre back in September of 2020. Camarena is described as 5'5", about 170 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. She's known to dye her hair blonde or red. Anyone with information should call San Diego police. The police are also looking for a driver they say hit and seriously injured a woman in Hillcrest and then took off. This happened back on August 13th, just after 1:30 in the morning. This blurry image is from that evening. It happened at the intersection of University Avenue and Vermont Street. Police gave us these surveillance images and a picture of what they think is a similar SUV. That one, it's similar. They say it's a possibly older model Honda CR-V. They also say the SUV will have little to no damage. Anyone with information should call police or Crime Stoppers at 888-580-8477.
San Diego is about to transform a hotel downtown into a temporary shelter for seniors experiencing homelessness. Today, Mayor Todd Gloria announced 32 rooms will be cleaned up and furnished. A study from the group serving seniors says 1 in 4 San Diego's homeless adults is over the age of 55. More than 40% are experiencing homelessness for the first time. The mayor says this temporary shelter is just part of the solution.
We can't solve this crisis with one outreach event, one shelter opening, or one housing project. It requires a sustained effort.
Last week, the city opened a 150-bed shelter in the Midway District. It also expanded the hours for a safe parking lot in Mission Valley and recently announced the Old Central Library will also be turned into a homeless shelter. Governor Gavin Newsom is in New York this week talking about California's climate commitment. He's also taking aim again at Republicans like Texas Governor Greg Abbott, saying they are, quote, doubling down on stupid. Our political reporter Morgan Reiner has more tonight on the governor's headline-making moves.
Newsom's campaign has also purchased billboards in red states talking about abortion. And then one day after that, he asked Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis to debate him. Newsom says he's doing all this not because he's running for national office, but to sleep at night.
On Tuesday, Governor Gavin Newsom spent the afternoon talking about California's climate agenda in New York.
Conservative governors out there, Greg Abbott and others, they're as dumb as they want to be, and they're just doubling down on stupid.
On Friday, he challenged Governor Ron DeSantis to a debate. I'll bring my hair gel, you bring your hairspray, he said in the tweet. On Thursday, he purchased billboards in 7 red states with anti-abortion policies.
Voters are not voting in 2022 general election more than they normally would be to vote based upon abortion or to vote based upon climate change.
Pollster Adam Probolski calls the issues Governor Newsom is focusing on building blocks.
The governor probably thinks he's solid for November, and he wants to start making a name for himself outside of California.
Probolsky said the top issues right now are financial, like the economy and inflation. The voting bloc Newsom should focus on is the Latino base, the group that disproportionately suffered the most economically during the state's COVID shutdowns.
The Newsom versus DeSantis poll we did, which is probably one of the most ridiculous questions I've ever asked, right? In California, who are you going to vote for? Of course, California is voting for our governor, but it does show those really interesting little places like the Latinos where DeSantis shows some strength.
The poll shows California Latino voters split among the two governors. Political analyst and UC Berkeley professor Omar Wasso said it's time to take a closer look at why, despite Newsom telling people to come to California, numbers show people leaving.
For Newsom to make the case that he should be seen as a national progressive leader, he really needs to show more progress in California on issues like homelessness, energy costs, transportation. California remains the #1 state for poverty.
Wasso cited numerous bills that are sitting on the governor's desk right now that, if he signed, would show his commitment to the housing issue. Those bills would make it easier to build housing on commercially zoned land. The governor only has 2 more weeks to sign all of the bills that are sitting on his desk.